The man who became most famous as a result of the Alpine McLaren saga is no one but the highly rated Australian driver Oscar Piastri, who had won both the F2 and F3 championships in his rookie season. Why else would two Formula 1 teams be in a tussle over a 21-year-old driver if not because he was regarded as the next big thing on the grid? So in today's video, we'll see what F1 team principals think of the promising youngster. There has never been a doubt about his talent, with the former Alpine team principal Marcin Budkowski openly referring to Oscar Piastri as a great talent, believing that he was not only Alpine's future, but also the future of Formula 1. Certainly, we have a great talent with Oscar in the wings, and if there is no seat available at Alpine, I'm sure we will find a solution for him to drive a Formula 1 car and stay in the Alpine family, Budkowski said. Looking at his resume, there is no doubt that Oscar Piastri is a once-in-a-generation talent. Only a few drivers have had such an incredible motorsport career before even racing in Formula 1, so it's little surprise that despite his incredible talent, he's still yet to race in Formula 1. The 21-year-old Australian made his Formula 4 debut in the British Formula 4 Championship, finishing runner-up with 6 wins and 6 pole positions. The young driver then proceeded to Formula 3 and Formula 2 career, where he became only the 6th driver in history to win the Formula 2 championship in their rookie season, and the 5th to win the Formula 3 and Formula 2 championships consecutively. No wonder Alpine is losing their minds about him. Despite having the kind of resume that would make any aspiring Formula 1 driver jealous, the Australian is surprisingly yet to race in Formula 1, much to his dissatisfaction. Prior to the whole Alpine McLaren saga, the young driver voiced his displeasure with being passed over for promotion, despite his track record in the junior category, saying, "I think I've done a good job of putting myself in a pretty prime position for an F1 seat. If I haven't proved that now, I've literally run out of single-seater categories to prove that in. I've certainly done everything in my power to present my case for an F1 seat. I said at the beginning of last year or this year, I thought with results I could barge my way into a seat somewhere. Clearly, that's not worked out. I really hope I'm on the grid in 2023 because I'd be pretty annoyed if I wasn't on the grid in 2023. I've run out of things to prove myself with." Will Power, another Australian driver in the IndyCar series and former F1 hopeful, echoed Piastri's sentiments when he stated that something is clearly wrong for Piastri not to get a seat given his record. Power went on to say that Piastri is deserving of a Formula 1 seat and has not been able to get one because the system is broken. Oscar Piastri certainly deserved to be in F1 this year, having won back-to-back titles in Formula 3, then F2 first year out as a rookie. Then not to be in Formula 1, to me, the system is sort of broken. It's worth noting that Piastri won the Formula 3 championship without claiming a single pole position throughout the season, which is intriguing given that he's not best known for pole position or having the fastest lap on the grid. Yet he manages to win championships, which clearly demonstrates his intelligence and driving skills. Regardless, during his tenure as team boss at Alpine, Budkowski made it clear that Alpine was in a difficult position because Esteban Ocon was a long-term prospect in the team, and Fernando Alonso was very impressive, and as such, the French racing team was left with no choice but to continue developing Piastri's talent. Oscar is going to be very involved in the simulator. He's going to be doing a lot of development work, a lot of simulator work, spending time in the factory, very close with the engineers. He's going to be doing quite a lot of on-track running as well. We'll develop Oscar a lot, beyond just taking him to the races as our third driver, Budkowski said. Even so, it is surprising that the young Australian driver has yet to get a race seat in Formula 1, given that he is clearly better than his main rival in Formula 2, Chinese driver Guanyu Zhou, who has gotten a seat in F1. For example, Zhou, who won the Alfa Romeo race seat ahead of Oscar Piastri for the 2022 season, spent 3 years in Formula 3 and did not win the championship. Zhou only won 5 races in Formula 2, finishing 7th, 6th and 3rd in 3 seasons. However, when compared to Piastri, finishing 69.5 points ahead of Zhou, many F1 fans were surprised that Alfa Romeo chose Zhou over Piastri, with many F1 fans believing that Zhou was not chosen on merit, but because F1 was attempting to break into the Chinese market. Regardless of the situation at the time, Alfa Romeo team principal Frédéric Vasseur was quick to let everyone know that Piastri is an excellent driver, but their decision not to choose him was solely because he's linked to Alpine, and it makes no sense to give him a seat knowing full well that they would lose him to Alpine. Oscar is doing a very good job, but as far as I know and I understand, he's linked with Renault or Alpine. I didn't discuss with Alpine about this, but if you invest in a driver for all the junior series and to have a long-term program with him, I don't see the point to let him go to another F1 team. It would be strange. I think it would make much more sense to have the possibility to extend the contract. Not necessarily a multi-year contract, but to be sure that you won't lose the driver after 1 year, Frederic Vasseur said. Vasseur went on to discuss Piastri's qualities and how he is the future of Formula 1 when he said, "He won in a row at Formula Renault Euro Cup, F3 in the first year, and now he's leading F2, said Vasseur of Piastri. He is doing a very good job. It's crystal clear to me that he's probably one of the best in the field today in the junior series. He did a great job last year and was fighting with Theo Pouchier Sauber Jr. until the last event. He's one of the young kids that will be successful in F1 for sure." Frederic Vasseur appears to be not the only F1 boss who believes the young Australian driver is F1 ready, with Williams boss Jos Capito seriously considering adding Piastri to his lineup earlier in the season. "Oscar for sure is ready to go into F1. I think he's one on the list for sure," said Capito. Regardless, F1 bosses were not the only ones who thought Piastri was F1 ready. F1 drivers such as Charles Leclerc and even Daniel Ricciardo have since acknowledged that Oscar was an exceptional talent who needed to be on the grid as soon as possible. Leclerc, for example, explicitly described Piastri as a talented driver and explained that should a driver win Formula 2, he clearly deserves a seat, which is exactly Piastri's reality. While Ricciardo, on the other hand, was amused by his talent and explained that he was impressed by how Piastri dominated F2. He didn't just win, he dominated. It was pretty, I don't know. I don't think anyone really expected him to, as I said. Fighting for a title is one thing, but winning comfortably was huge. I think people knew obviously he was talented. I knew he was talented, but I don't think anyone expected him to dominate the championship like he did. Nonetheless, while there has never been any doubt about the young Australian driver's talent, Alpine team principal Otmar Safnauer, who has touted Oscar Piastri as Alpine's future, has expressed his displeasure with the defending Formula 2 champion's antics. Safnauer revealed that he expected Oscar to be more loyal than he has been, and that he has never seen such disloyalty displayed by the Australian driver in his 33-year Formula 1 career. "I expected more loyalty from Oscar than he is showing. There should be some loyalty to the fact that we have invested literally millions and millions of euros to prepare him. I started in 1989 in Formula 1 and I've never seen anything like this. It's not about Formula 1, it's about integrity as a human being. For me, I grew up, I did not need to sign a piece of paper and then have someone say, 'You're lying because you signed this.' For me, if you say, 'Hey, help me, I'll help you tomorrow,' there's no way I would go back on my word. No way," Safnauer said. Regardless, there is no doubt that Oscar Piastri is a talented driver who deserves to be on the F1 grid. What do you think of Oscar Piastri? Do you think these F1 bosses are correct in their assessment of the defending Formula 2 champion? Let us know in the comment section.